Hi guys, it's Sky, and I am really happy to be here today connecting with you. I wanted to connect with you about the voting issue, and I am going to do the video about voting and the severity of what that is going to do to the planet. But I was connecting, I've been traveling a little bit and going to some great conferences that I'm going to share with you. But I wanted to talk to you right now about the reality about the aliens that are running ISIS. Now, if you watch my videos, you know I don't watch the news. When I met the light beings, the beings that are helping assist us with the changes that are going to be happening on the planet, you'll understand that one of the agreements that I have with them is that I don't watch the news, and that the information that I got would be pure and it'd be real and it'd be coming from the beings, the protectors. There's protectors of this planet, and I know that because and they're guarding the timelines. They're guarding times because if you remember, you'll go review my videos. I talk about being a child, we used to go play at this one little area, and we used to go play with other children, and there were certain children that were chosen, and we were taken by the alien nurses, what we later to be understood as they call themselves aliens. We understand them to be alien nurses, extraterrestrial nurses, that are the guardians of the planet. They're the nurses, they help us. They took us to this timeline, the timeline that you and I exist on right now, to help us to understand the severity of what is going on here, and how the cabal, the leaders of this planet, the people that are just right now running this timeline in this dimension, are in control of ISIS. And they work with what we know being light workers, people like myself that have gotten ignited. We find this out because we leave our bodies and we meet each other, we go to meetings, we connect, we meet with the guardians. We were brought here to educate you and to train you about what's going on, and to learn ourselves as we get trained. So there's thousands of us. I'm not the only one. There's many. Maybe you watching are one of these people that have been ignited, and you've gotten messages about the changes that are going to happen on planet Earth. So one of those actually does involve ISIS. And what I got at, I was started to say is I don't watch the news, but I was connected to the light beings about having to talk about this. And it's very sad, first of all. You know, the reason why they use the word ISIS is because that was our goddess, Isis, Osiris. So they are purposely mimicking Isis. And if you're Christian, Isis also meant Mary Magdalene, the mother of Jesus. That's how it's associated into the ethereal. So it's the ultimate slap toward the Christ energy, and the ultimate slap toward the goddess, the mother female energy. So that's why they chose her name. The name, they called it Isis, because it's the controllers of the planet working with the Draco system. The Dracos, I want to say system because this is an interesting thing now that we have to understand. It's an alien artificial intelligence, but it's alien technology, because when you go and you observe our leaders that are taking orders from these people, well, they're not people. They're like a dragon robot. It's the strangest thing you could ever imagine. So, but when you travel the cosmos, all kinds of things are strange, and there's many civilizations, and there's civilizations you and I have. Some people here have no idea about that. Some of our leaders already are participating on that are made for them. And there's civilizations that some light beings are already participating on that are made for them. I mean, there's just it's just so big. I mean, there's insects that are are just as like has the brain of a human or more, and they operate on colonizing the planet. So when you travel the cosmos, it's not just like a human being there. That's just that's one form, sort of, I understand, under like Christ. It's under a Christ thing. It's under a human. A Hu is a God and man, God, man, human. So it all intertwines, and these alien Draco artificial intelligence that's run off planet. It's an off planet intelligence that is alien based, and it's from the Draco system. From what I understand, it's a Draco technology, and they run this because, see, they pick up a radar. I'm going to tell you how to help. We're going to help this ISIS from our own home, because they run this. They're following a biblical script. This is not the only timeline they followed this biblical script on. This is done before. This timeline, if you watched my video with Evolve TV, I talked about we are on different timelines, and I came here from this timeline, and this timeline is the collective. And I talked about on that channel which each timeline's from, or on that show, what we're doing on each timeline. So this timeline, we're the collective. There's a timeline where that's why everybody here on this timeline, you see all these leaders, or these Nelia Benz, everybody's talking about Bashar. We talk about the 100th monkey, because the 100th monkey this is the collective. This is the timeline that we're on. So this is why this has to be met. So that's why we're all continuing to educate each other. And so the Dracos that are running this system are following the biblical script. And this is not the first time they've done this. They've got you all fooled. I tell you, when you people go to those voting booths and you think that you're voting for a right wing and a left wing, that's just they have put that in the matrix programming, and they've got you all fooled. Like a lot of these religions were fooled. All the churches and the churches and the courthouses, they're on grid lines. That's a Draco matrix system. And underneath these grid lines that many churches are on, and almost every courthouse that you see, is a grid line feeding the Dark Lord that ends. There's certain main portholes that they have. And one of them is Washington, D.C. One of them is New York City. This is what we see when people like me travel the cosmos, and we give you this information. And then the one that I know, of course, I talk about in my other videos, is the one in New York City. That's just a portal for other universes. Or that's not a good portal there. I can't say that's not a good porthole, because this is not correct. Everything is good under Gaia. This is a captured porthole, and there's access to darker races that are entering in through there. So that is not that's a place where somebody like me would sit and just do a lot of prayer over. But the thing is, this whole thing isn't this matrix that's controlled by these Draco systems. So this ISIS, that is the aliens that are controlling that. It's not the government. It's not Muslim. And if you're not evolved enough to understand that humans basically are good people, and this is a facade that you fell into, and that your own mind wants to blame somebody else. You want to have a right or you want to have somebody did something, so I have to have somebody to blame, therefore we're going to fix the problem. But in the beginning of the solution is off, so there's no problem to fix, because we've distorted our minds to begin with. And it is your job to get out of the matrix and not feed into this stuff. It is absolutely ridiculous to think that there's one, that we have to have this prejudice toward these Muslim people that are coming in and invading our place and giving us ideas. People actually believe that. Do you know that? These religious people actually believe that there's a Muslim group that is doing this. That is not real. That is you that fell into that matrix of an illusion, that you fell into duality and separateness, and you believe that that's real. Now, I'm just talking about duality of the matrix, but you fell into the facade that they've given you about that there's terrorists. There's no terrorists. There's never been an attack in the United States of America. That's not real. That's aliens. That's hard to believe because we want to think of aliens as being little green men from Mars, but this isn't true. These are advanced people. They talked about this in the Nag Hammadi, the Bible, and the Mahabharata. There's mentions of this in each of those books. So we've been warned about this, but the trickery is way far greater than you're ever going to know. We've been warned about being that these people were going to be masters. They were going to hide out. You know, Satan hides out in the Catholic Church. In the Catholic Mass, if you were to decode the Mass, you're going to decode a Satanistic ritual. The judges are sitting on a desk that is a Draco system, and every time they put on that black robe, that is a system that is paying homage to a Dark Lord. And if you're a Christian and you go and you say, Your Honor, and I agree, you are paying homage to a Dark Lord. When you vote, you pay homage to the Dark Lord that's run this planet. They merged with us when they got the Majestic 12. They took over our entire space. Everything. Our educational system, especially our medical system. When I met the light beings, that was one thing that they told me. Make sure that you understand Eastern philosophy because your Western medicine has been infiltrated. It's been invaded. And you're going to have to learn and educate people away from this. We need to get away from this now. There's a lot of trickery in our Western medicine that has made us susceptible to mind programming. And especially through the vaccines and diseases. They don't want humanity here. Now, here's the good thing, is that we are human. The God-man is you got to know it is stronger than the artificial intelligence that is running this planet. It's stronger than the Matrix. Your God self is stronger than the Matrix. It's stronger than the disease. It's stronger than the poverty. It's stronger than buying into ISIS. Now, we know that the ISIS was invented. It was a false flag that gone real. I say false flag gone real. That's how I'm understood to train it, to explain this. And that is controlled by forces. And these forces, when you watch the news, you are participating in that. Because what that does is you read it, you find it. Now, I'm not saying don't give out prayers. You know, the news is just a prayer request. You can kind of put it that way. But when you watch news, what happens if you feed into that, you literally send out signals of fear and oh my God, and then you've got this, ISIS. You've attached your signals to the artificial intelligence. That artificial intelligence glorifies your fear and throws it back to you and puts your own distortion in there and it merges with your own personality and starts merging with your own mess in your own mind that you haven't cleared out. So and then you send it back out, and then it goes into the collective. So the important thing here is to recognize that the planet needs prayer. Recognize that that prayer is above the artificial intelligence, that your God human self, the God Christ self within you, is merged also in the collective above the artificial intelligence. There is a God collective mind above all of this that is ascended. Gaia herself has done that, and we literally right now we exist there because there is no time. And you can merge your body, your mind, with the timeline that ISIS was demolished. It didn't exist, that it came out where we healed her. In fact, we have to do this now, because if we keep fitting into that third dimensional reality, the collective is going to keep going into this. In fact, it is actually going to be going. I mentioned in these videos that it was going to be like several years, like the Bible said. There's several years of tribulation, so this can be very difficult. It's but collectively, see, Gaia has to wait too, because there's people that she's brought here that didn't work out their personal things. And you have to work out your personal stuff. The more that you personally work out your stuff, you literally heal the Middle East. You heal ISIS, because you are in the collective. And when we are individually healed and outside of the matrix, this collective cannot be controlled by ISIS and the Draco systems. Because the Draco systems and all those alien beings, they're literally feeding off our God self. And they've taken the God self and they've turned it into something artificial. And that's how they're controlling us and keeping us dummy down. I'm not blaming any Draco. It's human beings. If you're going to stay ridiculous, if people stay ridiculous, I don't want to sound preachy, but if you stay ridiculously stuck and watching a television in a matrix, believing in duality, that if you do something here, you're not going to get affected over here. People think if they have something and wrong in their relationship, that it's not going to affect their finances. That's bullshit. That's not real. It's one thing. It's one unit of energy that you're working with. Just like the collective. If you work in yourself, you work over there. You can't just, like, if you're fighting with your girlfriend and you're super shining at work, those two will intertwine. They'll be affected. You don't get away with anything. You have to work on yourself. You just have to. You can't. And when you work on yourself, as a result, the planet's vibration raises, and then not to mention the amount of help that we have. We're going to be see, Gaia is scheduled for ascending, but she's not going to do it until each person on here has allowed themselves to go through their own ascension process, which is an own inner journey, and it's an own thing. And you can tell that you're doing it because your life should be becoming happy now. Like, you want to be okay, and not just, you didn't just show up this way. You've worked through your issues, where you should be working through everything now. Everything has to get worked through. If you haven't moved yet, or gotten with your right partner, or gotten with your right job, or merged into the right career, like you sometimes, like artists right now, this is a real good time. You have to be. You're going to be. You're just going to be, because this old paradigm doesn't sustain the energy that we are working with right now. And there are people that are working with bringing profound energy to the planet. That is right now. So there's definitely going to be changes here. There's definitely going to be changes. They are following a biblical script. This is all planned. We have gone through this already on another timeline, and we have succeeded. And there are beings like myself that were brought here to walk us through this and tell you how we succeeded. When we experienced ISIS, we had access to we heard, like me, many of us, people were not tranced out in the matrix watching television on their cell phones 24/7, like literally comparing what people wear, what shows are what, these talents. That's ridiculous. Get back to the heart. But we lived like in Lemuria. We did not live like this before we got attacked by the Dracos, and before this stuff happened. We were able to on these timelines, we had a signal, and we understood that they were coming. And we unified as the human, the God-man, and we were able to work with this. We were able to, we understood when they were coming. There was a timeline that understood when they were coming, and we got rid of them. And then there was a timeline when we understood, we understood they were there. We understood that they were coming to depopulate us, like what they're doing here on the earth. This is the same thing. They realized, I don't think they can depopulate us, but what they do want to do, from what I know, is they want to transhumanize us. And they are doing that. That whole gay thing that was going on, that was all planned. The gay transhuman things. I talked about that a long time ago, that they were going to put out some gay. That it doesn't matter if you're gay, but they just don't want they don't want male female. They don't want reproduction. They want humanism. They want transhumanism. They want half of who they are with the human part of the human DNA coding that's going to make them extend their lifespan. But it's robotic. It's transhumanism. It's not the human. It's not the God-man. So we are the human God-man, the angelic human people are here to educate us about this. So I hope I've explained some things and talked about the ISIS, about how it is run by the aliens. We do have power over that as humans. When you heal yourself and you collectively work on yourself, and then the 100th monkey, the effect of the collective, when the collective is out of this matrix, there's no Draco system running us. The human God is above the Draco system. That's why they're threatened by us. That's why they want our DNA coding. And that's why they actually merged, and then definitely merged with the humans, and so, but we've washed ourselves through many lifetimes, and we've cleaned ourselves out. So many of us are ready to go home now. So and go home and experience heaven on earth. Heaven, you can experience yourself on a higher timeline right now, by your own ascension, by your own vibration, raising your own vibration, so that you're not affected by this. And when you're not affected, you're sending light out. That's energy. Everybody feels your light in the day. Just you smiling at somebody matters. Just you choosing not to have an argument with somebody and choosing to be happy instead of right, those things matter. That changes the cosmos. It's really hard to do. It's hard for me. I live in Los Angeles traffic, so I can't tell you how much I have to practice patience. and sometimes it's interesting, because I'm practicing. I have to leave my body almost to deal with it, and that's when I'll get things chimed into me. So anyway, so it's I'm still in my body. I'm still driving my car, but it's very difficult. If you've lived in LA, the traffic is very hard. But that's my own, it's very interesting. It's my own little thing. When my mind is clear, somehow traffic moves. It opens up. It's very interesting how that works. So anyway, I hope this helped you. And please stay in touch with me. Thank you so much to all you guys that bought my book. I was very excited. It's a very real, true story that I experienced with my daughter going through the MK Ultra, and what the aliens are doing to us, to human beings in the music industry, and to our celebrities. And that's why I had my memory back, because there's no greater love than the love for a mother. So because of that, my Kundalini expansion, my awakening happened, and that's going to happen, and that is happening for other people. That's happening. We're doing this together. So thank you for being part of this. Okay.